What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Dre B. Rambo Show. I am your host, Dre B. Rambo, or just Dre, as they call me. Let's turn that off. I don't know if that thing actually works, if it came through on the recording. The last couple of times I tried to put my intro music. It didn't really pick up that well. Anyway, first order of business. Happy birthday to my son, June. He's in the Navy. And it's his 22nd birthday today. My boy is now 22 years old. Great kid. Got super lucky. It was out of my hands. By the grace of God, he turned out to be an amazing son. So I'm super lucky, and happy birthday to you, son. If you're watching this, I love you and I miss you. My son is a nuclear engineer in the Navy. He's currently stationed up in Washington, and he's been in there for about 3 years. He doesn't recommend people go into the military because it's tough work, but we're grateful for all you men and women out there who are in the armed forces, and we appreciate your service. God bless you all, and we hope that you're always safe. Now, what I want to talk about today is kind of like how, I lost my little thing here. But reinventing yourself. That's Legal Duck Guy. Where is here we go. Is reinventing yourself. That's what I want to talk about. There's a lot of people out there on the internet world where I've heard them say things like, or even if you go to like church, which I love going to church, but sometimes the churches don't always have it right. And they'll say things like, you got to discover who you are, and you just got to figure out who you are, things like that. And I think that's a load of crap. I don't think you can discover who you are. I think that you need to decide who you want to be and then strive to be that person. That is a better way, because that requires you to take personal accountability. It requires you to think and actually make a conscious decision about what type of man you want to be. And I think that is the better way to go. Because otherwise, what's the alternative? The alternative is that someone else will tell you who you are. It could be other people in your family, like your parents or a loved one or a wife, or even worse, it could end up being social media or the media in general who could end up telling you who you are. I was driving on the freeway today on my way to work. And I drive all the way to Wilshire near Western. It's far. It's on the. I don't live in LA, but I drive through LA on the 10 freeway. And traffic's horrible, and it takes me an hour and a half to get to where I work on the other side of LA. And one of the billboards, as I was passing downtown LA, had signs for Michelob Ultra today. I guess they're having some kind of campaign, and it actually said on the billboard. And I remember I wrote it down when I was driving by. It said that Michelob Ultra is the mark of a fighter. That's what it said. It associated drinking Michelob Ultra with being a fighter. And I thought to myself, yeah, maybe a bar fighter where two extremely out of shape dudes are going to be fighting over whose seat it was at the bar, something like that, some ridiculousness. And I thought to myself, like, here's the media trying to tell us that consuming alcohol makes you a fighter, that it gives you the fighting spirit. Like if you read into it, it's basically saying that real men drink alcohol, and then not only alcohol, but they drink Michelob Ultra, which is piss beer. Like, who actually thinks that that's a good beer? And to be honest with you, I wouldn't care if Michelob Ultra called me and said, hey, we'll pay you $100,000 right now if you market our beer. Hell no. I would not market beer on this channel. No way whatsoever to the people who are watching this channel. All 5 of you. So, yes, media will tell you who you are if you let it. But you don't have to let the media tell you who you are. You can literally decide who you're going to be. And I think that's the way all of it should be. If we have that mindset that that we're not going to allow outside influences tell us who we are, but instead we can just get a piece of paper and we could get our pen and then jot down what is it that what kind of man do I want to be? And I've done this many times. I will grab a pen and paper and I'll jot down something. For me, it's all the first thing that always pops into my mind is God. I want to be a man who stands for something. I want to be a man who stands for something. And that first thing that always seems to be what I want to stand up for is my faith in Jesus. So I'll just put in my little book, faith in Jesus, just like that. Boom. That's value number one. That's right there. Just by doing that one line, I've already told myself what kind of person I want to be. And then I tell myself everything under that has to fall in line with those principles, that it has to align with the teachings that Jesus laid out in the Bible, where he says what type of human being we're supposed to be. And Jesus actually calls us to be quite a few things. He calls us to be disciplined. So I think to myself, I want to be disciplined. And I am be the first to tell you, I'm not a very disciplined person. It's only until recently, over the last month, that I've been making good strides with how I treat my body, like the food that I'm putting into it, the things that are going into my brain. And I struggle like any other dude, but being a disciplined person, having discipline is something I value. So then I would jot that down and I would say, okay, I'm a person who believes in Jesus and I'm disciplined in my faith. And what does it mean to be disciplined in my faith? Well, it means, okay, I don't drink. Because I, unlike the Michelob Ultra advertisement, see drinking as low value activity. I see it as something that's corrosive to the human body. I see that it does damage, and most importantly, it's a lie. The commercials will tell you that by having this alcohol, you're going to have a great time. You're going to have the best time with your friends and things like that. And I think that's a bunch of load of crap. Most of the time when I was drinking, I didn't remember half the shit I did. I also didn't enjoy myself. I was always in my own brain. It was when I was single, it was hard to talk to girls, at the bars or actually, I didn't even bother because I was more concerned about getting drunk. That was more my thing. And this whole idea of, you're just going to have one beer and it's going to be cool and all that. Hey, if you can do that, more power to you. But as far as I'm concerned with the type of man that I want to be, I'm going to be a guy who doesn't drink or use drugs or smoke. So I'm going to put all that, boom, smoke. What's my point? My point here is that most of us don't even really know who we want to be in life. We don't even know what we value. We don't know what we care about. I mean, we know stuff about on the surface. Like, obviously, we care about our families and many people care about their bodies without having to write that down. However, not everybody does that. Not everybody has it in their mind who they are. It's not an easy thing to try to figure out. Who are you? You're more than just the person, that we call you by. Like me, I'm Dre B. Rambo, but that's just the persona. It's not actually who I am. Who I am for me is what I value. What kind of man do I want to be? I get to create that. What an amazing gift from God that we get to create who it is that we want to be. And it's really important that who you decide to be doesn't conflict with what you truly value, right? There's no point in writing down. Well, no, there is. If you believe in something, and I'm willing to, stand up for this. For example, I'm willing to stand up for the principles that Jesus lays out in the Bible, and I want to be the kind of person that lives by those things, right? We don't commit adultery. We don't fornicate. We don't get drunkenness. We don't have gluttony. We're not greedy. You know, we're giving and we love others and we put others before ourselves. We're good. We practice goodness and faithfulness and patience. All these things that we practice as Christians, those are the things that I value, and I want to emulate those things, right? And it's a lot of stuff. It's not something that's meant to be easy, obviously. But if it's who you decide you are, what better thing to strive for? I mean, think about it. If you say, I am this person, this is who I want to be, I am this person, what better gift could you give to yourself than to actually live that out, to actually live it out on a regular basis? Let's take it a step further. You want to be a doctor or a lawyer. Well, you start acting like a doctor or a lawyer. You don't wait until you actually become a doctor or a lawyer to start acting like a doctor or a lawyer. You do that first. You see it in your mind, you believe it in your mind, and then you actually go for it. I see myself as a conglomerate of businesses. I have a LLC called Araujo Capital Investments. I created that. It's a real business. It's a real entity that invests in business. It invests capital in business. All of it's my capital, but someday once my businesses take off, when there's reputation and there's actual success going on, I'll be able to draw from other people and draw their money to invest in stuff. I got one guy who's actually willing to invest with me into vending machines, but it's not really something that I'm looking into right now. I'm not really looking into vending machines. It's not a bad idea, but it's not something I'm looking into right now. However, I've decided, and you can too, who you want to be. I want to be this guy who owns a conglomerate of companies, a bunch of companies. I don't even know if that's the right word, conglomerate, but companies, right? And I have to see myself in my mind like I am a business owner. Granted, I don't have, I'm not making tens, $20,000 a month, but I see myself as a guy who's making $20,000 a month. Matter of fact, I was just sitting down on my chair in my living room, and I was sitting at the chair, and I was no internet, no nothing, just thinking to myself. And I was thinking to myself, all right, I want to buy a house, and I want to buy a house in my area where I live, and I want it to be about $1 million, maybe $1.2 million with a pool, right? And I get very specific about it. I want sliding doors, and I start fantasizing about it. Like, yeah, I'm going to be this dude that owns a $1.2 million house, and I want this house within 1 year. Why do I want it within 1 year? Because time is a wasting. See, what I want to do is I want to buy this house, and then I'm going to move my wife and kids and stepsons into my house where we will be able to live in under this little kingdom that I built for myself, right? The house, for me to buy a $1.2 million house, would cost about, if I got an FHA loan and I only put down the bare minimum, which would be about $50,000, which is totally doable. I could totally save that this year. That my payments would probably be about $8,000 a month. And I thought to myself, holy moly, that's a crap load of money. Like, where am I going to get $8,000 a month? Right now, I'm barely making, I'm not going to tell you guys what I'm making, but I'm short. Let me tell you, I'm short, right? However, I thought to myself, dude, you could totally make that. You could totally make 20 G's in a month. I have everything I need to make $20,000 in a month. I got the auto detailing business with all the equipment that I could scale, and that I could buy a van and get an employee and actually start generating some business. Matter of fact, I have a meeting today with my marketing company that I have, and they also give me the client management software, where we have a meeting where we're going to finish setting up my website. I wasn't able to get my website out and up and running the last time we had the phone call, which was last week, and this is the first chance I had. First chance I had to talk to these guys again is today, because I don't go to my night job. They're not available on the weekends. Monday's all I got, but I just keep going, right? And guys, this is a game of inches. when you're undertaking something, whether it be to become the next jiu-jitsu world champion, which I'm actually working on, or if you're trying to start a business, it's a game of inches, man. You know, if you run into roadblocks, you run into problems, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed you're going to run into problems when you're starting a business or when you're trying to train to become a world champion, right? Family gets in the way, obligations get in the way, your jobs get in the way. Dude, you got to run to the market. You know, if somebody asked me, you know, when my mom or my wife or somebody would ask me to go to the market or something like that, that kills an hour of my day. That's an hour of my life that I got to go just driving to the store, walking around and get the stuff, and then coming back. An hour goes by like this, guys, right? It's a game of inches. There's so many things that I'm learning that I need to do, which one is obviously prioritize my time, what truly matters in the moment, not what really matters. Obviously, your family is what matters. You know, the wife and kids, the whoever your family is, that's what matters. But what matters in the moment? Do I need to be spending my time going to the supermarket when my wife isn't doing shit and she's just watching TV, which she never does? But if she was, like, should I be the one going to the damn market, or should I be focusing on the hustle? Right? Because I know from experience that this is a game of inches. I don't have all this time to just be squandering away. I got to be moving every single day, one, closer and closer and closer to the goal. So I can totally make 20 G's in a month. I got the tools. I got the legal doc guy business where, you know, I can make money doing legal doc. I make money doing legal document preparation for people. If you ever need legal services in the family law area, I'm your guy. You call me up. I'm half the price of what a lawyer is going to charge you. And I do lawyer work because I am a lawyer. I just don't have a license. However, now I'm marketing I got to get like a little legal doc guy thing where I just pop it up. I'll figure it out. And that's the thing. I'll figure it out because it's a game of inches. Right? I just had an idea. I should have a little button here where I talk about Legal Doc Guy, and then boom, my image or the Legal Doc Guy logo pops up right here in the corner, and people can see Legal Doc Guy with the phone number and all that kind of stuff. Brought to you by Legal Doc Guy, right? All that kind of stuff. Anyway, so it's a game of inches. It's totally possible that I can make it 20 G's, and I'm telling myself, how am I going to buy this house? How am I going to get a house where the payment's going to be $8,000 a month? And I thought to myself, all I have to do is make more money. All I got to do is just make better use of my time, making more money, right? I have a job, my main job as a law clerk. I don't mind telling people what I make. I make almost 80 grand a year, which isn't a lot of money for most people, or making a crap load more than that with their jobs, right? There's police officers out there making more money than me. There's school teachers making more money than me. I don't make a whole lot of money. But it's a living. It's something, right? And that's not pocket change. And then I have my other job at the UFC, which I don't know, maybe a few extra $100 a month. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to make, I don't know, $800 a month working at UFC teaching classes. If I'm lucky, chances are I'll probably be making more like $400 a month. But the point is that I'm not sitting on my ass. And then I got the weekends. Auto detailing. If I don't have a client for Legal Doc Guy, auto detailing, booking clients. I could be making anywhere from $200 to $350 per vehicle. If I have to spend 3-4 hours on a vehicle, I could be doing 2-3 vehicles a day. I could be making $900, $1,000 a day for those 2 days on the weekends. That's $2,000 extra. 2, 4, 6, 8, 4 weekends. Now I'm making 8 G's on my weekend hustle, not including the money that I get from my regular job, which would probably make it more like, now I'm making like 13 G's plus my other jobs and blah, 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 right? It's just like, it just starts adding up. The point is that it's possible, and you got to get in your mind to say and believe that it's possible. Self-doubt is a killer. Self-doubt will eat you alive, man. Like, you don't want to ever doubt yourself, because no good could come from it. If there was something good that could come from thinking to myself, I got to be realistic. I got to start living down here in reality. Screw that. You got to live up here in the dream area, in the area that says where the impossible is possible. Because I've noticed that when I don't have any negative thoughts and I'm just on my game, things go great. And I always hit snags. I hit snags. I have problems that end up happening. There's always something that's going to go wrong with what you're trying to do. That's just life. That's where the learning comes. When mistakes or roadblocks get in your way, that's where the growth is. That's where where the rubber meets the road. That's where you learn. You don't learn by the easy stuff. You're going to learn by the hard stuff. So that's what it is. If I want the $1 million house, which doesn't really buy you that much where I live, but if you want the $1.2 million house with the pool and the sliding doors with the gazebo and, a nice front yard and maybe even a jacuzzi and all that kind of stuff, and be able to pay all your bills and all that, I just have to make more money. It's as simple as that. Because the mindset of, oh, well, geez, I only make $5,000 at my job, but the mortgage would be $8,000. I guess the house just isn't in the cards for me. And I guess maybe I should just squander my money on vacations or squander my money on, clothing and all this other kind of stuff. No, screw that. And you know what? I'm actually really good at saving money. Turns out I'm better than my wife at saving money. My wife loves to take vacations, and we go to Big Bear and we do all this stuff, which is nice. We get Airbnbs and we make memories. We've had some really beautiful Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff. But screw that. I like saving money. I like building. I like putting myself in positions where I could actually make real moves. Those are the things that I like to do. I like to take calculated risks. That's the kind of guy I want to be. I'm telling myself, hey, you know what, Dre? You're the kind of guy who takes calculated risks. That's who I am. Have I taken a lot of calculated risks? I don't know. Maybe not. But my brain doesn't know that. My brain's going to believe whatever I tell it. At least that's what the guys say on the internet. But I believe it. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and it doesn't know the difference between not reality. If you walk around like you're the baddest mother effer out there, that you're the kind of guy who makes 20 G's a month, I mean, that's how it's done. Everybody who has done anything worthwhile had to first believe that they could. Belief, man. Belief. And believe that you could be anybody that you say you want to be. I truly believe that. And I wrote something down that I think is how this kind of gets done, right? So it could be applied to anything. Business, athletes, it could be applied to anything. And I tell my students this all the time, my jiu-jitsu students. And I like telling them this because it makes perfect sense for them. Because a lot of the students that I coach, I show them some basic jiu-jitsu techniques and they still have trouble with it. Or it's awkward for them, right? I show them these moves that I think are very basic, but they struggle to, I was always the kind of jiu-jitsu practitioner where I saw something once, twice, I just picked it up and I had it and I could do it. I mean, even like flipping someone over my head with a lasso guard, where the coach showed it, everybody's like, holy moly, like that guy just flipped the dude over using a lasso guard, right? And then fall right into mount kind of thing, right? And a lot of people are having trouble with this. And I just saw it one time, 2 times when he showed it, and boom, I had it down. No problem. However, not everybody's like that. And some people might be really good at building relationships and building a business. Some people might be gifted like that, but not everybody is, because nothing can replace hard work. You could be talented and skilled. I know plenty of people who are really, really smart. I know family who's like, they got degrees up the wazoo and like they still broke and they still don't have anything going on for them. And not to say that they're not good people and not to say that they don't have great education, I guess, but we're talking financial education here. We're talking about, and not even that, it's about grit, hard work. Like that stuff cannot be replaced by just being smart. So what I always tell people is this when I'm teaching them, I say, when you're starting something new, especially if it's a new technique or a new venture, new business, you're going to go through what's called the awkward phase. Awkward phase. You're going to do something that's going to feel awkward to you. Like me being on this podcast right now, being that this is only a few episodes in from the last time. I mean, I've got like 100 and something videos, but this is the first time this is like the fourth time that I've been on the air since I took a big, large gap in time, like almost a year off. Right. And it does feel a little awkward again, like talking into the camera, trying to stay on cue with what I'm talking about. I write down stuff sometimes, but I try to just do bullet points because otherwise, I'm just staring at the screen and I want to be more authentic and just kind of talking to the mic, talk to people and then have you hear what I'm saying. I mean, if it weren't all for all the drugs that I did growing up, I might be able to keep my train of thought better. Because sometimes I go out on a tangent and then I can't get myself back to where I was. And it gets really difficult sometimes for me because my brain's so jacked, right? But with this podcast, it's awkward right now. Very awkward because I haven't done enough videos and I haven't really found my groove. I really haven't found my way yet. I still don't even really know like what every podcast is going to be like. I know that I want to talk about entrepreneurship and athletes. I know that because that's what I like, right? I'm talking about what I like. Athletes, entrepreneurship. But right now it's very awkward. But what I know from personal experience with life is that the more effort I put, the more I'm on this channel or I'm actually making recordings and talking about whatever the heck I want to talk about, I'm going to start to move into what's called the mechanical phase. Mechanical, where I'm more on point, more on cue, but everything's more mechanical now. And those dogs. I hate it. We have dogs and I just hate it when they bark. Okay, because the microphone I think picks it up. Hopefully it didn't pick it up. However, did I just say I hate dogs on air? I don't hate dogs. Don't burn my house down. I just mean I hate it when they bark when I'm recording, is what I meant. Anyway, so you get into this mechanical phase where it's not awkward necessarily, but it's quiet. See if I can send a text message to shut those dogs up. Anyway, so you get into this awkward phase. Things start to, mechanical phase, right? You're no longer in the awkward phase. You're in the mechanical phase where you're going through the motions. You're doing it. Everything is fine, especially like in jiu-jitsu, okay, you could do the technique, but you're still having to think about it. You still have to think and you're still kind of like, you're not getting through the steps all that great, right? But that at some point, you're going to move in and transition into what you would call the natural phase, where right now I'm in this mechanical phase with trying to get, people to, do business with my mobile detailing business, right? To get clients. I'm still in that phase of working with the website. Actually, I'm probably more in the awkward phase. We're trying to use the website, upload videos, trying to connect everything, get everything going. Like I'm totally in the awkward phase. But at some point, I'll be in the mechanical phase where, okay, I know what I'm doing, and I just need to, upload this, and I need to change this, and I'm gonna put this picture here. Maybe I'll arrange this to at some point where I'm just gonna. Oh, and then I need to send my messages and my campaign, and I'm gonna do a blast where everybody, and you're like, you're figuring out how to use the website. You're figuring out how to do the marketing on the web, on the software or whatever. But then at some point, once I've done it enough times, it's going to be natural. You just transition into this natural phase. That's the beauty of how God makes everything. Like how He's able to work in you. Like you just have to put in the effort. God's like, man, I give you the tools, man. God's like, man, I gave you the charisma. I gave you the technical know-how. I had other people you've never met create awesome tools for you to use. Like he's done all the work. All you have to do is just do your part, right? I know as long as I just keep at it, you know, when I clean a car, I've only done my own cars. When I clean a car and I start getting customer or clients to do mobile detailing, because I'm still kind of nervous. Like, am I going to be able to get that stains out, or am I going to screw up their car? Am I going to this? I'm going to that. That's totally normal to feel that way, and I know that. Totally normal to feel like I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually come through, clean this car like a real mobile detailer, right? Am I going to be able to pack everything in the car and get down to the client's house? And am I going to have what issues am I going to have? Like, is the generator not going to work? Is the machine going to not work properly? My hot water extractor, like all those things are those things are going to happen. I know that once I start having clients on a regular basis, I know that I'm going to run into problems. I know that's just expected. How could you not? That's how you learn. If I just started cleaning, detailing cars and I just never had a problem, like how do you learn from that? You don't. I mean, that would be a dream. That'd be great if I was just like, man, I'm going to go in there and spend 2 hours cleaning this car up. Not going to have any problems or issues. I'm just going to collect that $300 and I'm just going to go on to my next car, making $1,000 a day first week. I mean, there are guys who do that, but I'm a complete bonehead. And I know that, it's going to take me a few cars to actually learn how to do a good mobile detail, to actually figure out like how to get the soapy water and how to dry it so it doesn't leave spots. Like those are things that I got to figure out. But I know that that's going to come with experience. That's going to be my awkward phase. Won't be that long. I know that the awkward phase might be like 3 cars. After 3 cars, I'll probably move into the mechanical phase where now I know how to clean a car thoroughly, outside and inside, right? And then at some point, it's just be like natural. I'm just gonna be like, bam, car, boom. And I know exactly what to expect because I've done it so many times. That's the key. That's the key. Do it so many times that it just becomes second nature to you. That's the key with anything. Anything that you want to do, anything kind of a business or educational thing that you're doing, that is the key. That's the key with the bar exam, to tell you the truth. But I just hate doing those multiple choice questions. They're so long and they're just so complicated. But I know if I just keep doing them and keep working at it, I'm going to get into this phase where it's just like natural. Like these questions, like, I know them. You should see some of the questions I have. They're like 4 paragraphs long. They're long. And then the questions, like my head is just spinning. Like I can't even keep all the facts in my head, right? So it's more about, trying to figure out, you like when I read a long question, I'm training my brain to like go, whenever I hear certain types of facts or I hear certain types of language. It's like, oh, I know what's going on here. Boom. Right? Because not every single fact is important, but the ones that are, those are the ones that'll lead you down the path you need to go. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're putting in the work, you're willing to go through this awkwardness. You're willing to, like, if you're starting a new job, like I started a new job at a law firm back in September, the one I work now. And I had never worked in personal injury before, right? And I didn't lie and say I didn't know anything about personal injury. I mean, I had worked as a law clerk before, but I didn't know anything about personal injury. So they knew that. And my first couple of days, I remember the boss was like, dude, why is he taking so long with these motions in limine? Like, he should have had 4 done already, right? And I was just like, oh, man. Like, I barely knew what a motion in limine was. I knew it. I mean, I heard of one before, but I had never actually done any myself. And I was just told myself, man, sink or swim, man. Like, you just got to go for it. Just write, type, bam, get it done. Chat GPT that shit. Whatever you got to do, just get it done. And I took the attitude was like, man, I'm going to allow myself to just to just do this. I'm not going to limit myself with negative mindset. I'm just going to go ham out, balls out, and just get the work done, right? Because I know I can do it. I know it's in here somewhere. And all I have to do is just put one foot in front of the other. And guess what? Last month, they gave me a $5 an hour raise. Like, I went in there after 7 months and I said, hey, you know what, man? I think I'm worth more than what I think I'm doing pretty good here. And I want, I asked for an extra, I think $30,000 a year. Wait. No, I asked for $40,000 more a year. 40,000. I know that's a lot. It's kind of like, dang, who do you think you are? But I was like, I already felt like I was underpaid. And then not only do I want to be paid where I'm worth, but I want to be paid more, right? And they ended up giving me only $5 extra an hour. I mean, I have a salary, but I mean, it worked out to, they gave me like an extra 12,000. So I didn't get the 40,000 I wanted. I got an extra, I want to say an extra 12,000 a year, right? And I did all that just by just getting through that awkward phase, getting into the mechanical phase, and just getting now when I get those, I have all kinds of templates. I just knock them out. No big deal, right? Because you learn, right? You learn. You have to be exposed to stuff. So there's that. And but getting back to you can decide who you want to be. You can decide what you want to do. This nonsense of you discover yourself, that's a load of crap. You that you are right now, you suck, right? The Dre who I am right now today, he sucks. I don't want to be the Dre of right now. I'm enjoying being the Dre of right now, but it ain't gonna fly 2 months down the road. It ain't gonna fly 1 year from now. Dre in 3 months needs to be the Dre who's racking up 20 G's a month. That's the Dre I gotta be. And I know that sometimes people will tell you, you know what, you shouldn't tell people your plans and you should just keep it to yourself, grind, and people are just going to hate on you. I don't know about that. I've thought about that a lot. Should I like tell people my plans and like put myself out there? Cause like, what happens if I don't actually do it? What happens if I don't actually make 20 G's in a month? And then it reminded me of like when I was going to college and I went late in life because I was a high school dropout. I was older than all the other kids that were at school. And I was like, I mean, I didn't look that much older, but I was older. And it was psychologically in my mind, I thought I'm too old to be here. However, when I went back to school, I actually ended up quitting my job as a maintenance supervisor. I had my own apartment. It was beautiful, beautiful condo, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath. There's beautiful luxury condos. I was the maintenance guy. I got a free apartment plus a rent plus a paycheck. So I was making like, I don't know, $1,300 a month plus my free rent, which back, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, it wasn't bad at all. I was doing really nice. And then, just between us, like I was, selling weed and out of my apartment and all that kind of stuff. So I had made a little extra on the side, but I was just, I wasn't doing shit. And I decided I was going to quit my job and go to school. I decided I wanted to go to law school because I didn't know what the hell else to do with my life. I had tried all these businesses and different little hustles and I just never amounted to shit not because I didn't have good ideas, but because the kind of guy I was. I was the kind of guy who had great ideas and never implemented any of them. And so I thought, I'm just going to take the safe road and I'm just going to get a job. I'm just going to be a lawyer. I'll just go to school and just get my license to practice law and I'll just be a lawyer and I'll just make good money doing it like that. So I quit my job, went back to live with my mom, and then I went to college. And I went to college and I would tell anybody and everybody who would listen, I'm going to law school. I'm going. There's no way in hell I'm not going. I'm going to law school. I'm going to start. I may have been in school for a year. It didn't matter. I was telling people the date of when I was going to be in law school. And it kind of made me have to follow through on all the shit I was saying. Like I had to apply with the state bar. I had to, get good grades in all my classes. I had to actually, do 2 years of college. And then just every single day though, I would just always convince myself like, yeah, I'm totally going to law school. man, I'm totally going to get good grades at this school and I'm totally going to make it. And I did. I did. And I would tell people my plans all the time. So I don't really think, telling people your plans is a bad thing, but you have to be prepared, because when I was telling people that I was going to law school, especially my family, they all thought I was full of shit. My brothers, sisters, like they all, my family, my extended family, all thought, even my friends, are like, that guy ain't going to law school. That guy's a bum. And I was a bum. So they had every right to think what they thought. But at that moment, when I quit my job and then I enrolled at Rio Hondo College, like I decided who I was going to be. I decided I was going to be a lawyer in that moment. And I went through all the steps to get there, step by step. It's a game of inches, guys. It's a game of inches. And I haven't passed the bar yet. I'm taking the bar exam in July. I believe I'm going to pass. Even if I really don't, I'm telling myself I'm going to pass. My boss hopes I pass. Everybody wants me to pass. I want to pass. I just have to keep the consistency going with the studying. I need to pick it up actually, because there's only a couple months left. So I got to pick it up. But I always remind myself it's just a game of inches. I know that if I just keep doing the work, right now it's mechanical, but it'll come natural. All this stuff it'll work itself out as long as I keep putting in the work. As long as I have a plan and stay focused. Having a plan is really critical. It's not good to just be, a feather in the wind, because you got to know where you're going. You got to have a roadmap to where you're going to go. But back to the point is that I decided who I was going to be. And now I've decided that I'm going to be a real estate mogul. And the way I'm going to get there is that I'm going to earn a shitload of money with the 2 companies that I already have, including my job. I believe that I could operate these 2 companies and still have my $80,000 a year job. I can do it because I have weekends and I have nights and weekends. I got nights and weekends. I teach jujitsu, but that's probably going to be temporary because they make you sell stuff, and like I ain't good at sales. And the guy told me, hey, if you can't bring in, if you can't meet your quotas, we have to let you go. And fine by me. I'm not going to, if I can't teach jiu-jitsu at the UFC because I can't sell vitamins, and so be it. However, I did decide that I was going to be a real estate mogul, that I was going to buy properties. I'm going to buy a big house that I could move my family into, and that I'm going to do it by making 20 G's a month in auto detailing business, and then having maybe another $20,000 a month doing legal document preparation with my legal doc guy business. If I was making 10 and 10 from both, that's still 20 G's a month. Plenty of money to buy my dream home for me and my family. That's totally doable, right? That's what you got to see in your mind. You got to have something that's concrete, something that's going to make sense going forward, right? Everything I'm doing is for the feeling that I want, the thing that I want most in this world. And it's not power. It's not women. It's not drugs or any of that kind of stuff. It's none of that. What I desire most in this world is very simple. I want to be sitting in my own house with a pool, and has a nice dining area and a beautiful kitchen. And I want to be seated at my dinner table with my wife and my kids. And I want their admiration. I want my family to feel safe with me, feel like, hey, this guy is going to provide for us and protect us. That when they look at me, they see a guy who cares for them and takes care of them. That's all I want. That's so simple. Like, it's not even a lot. I just want to sit at a table with my kids. Could you imagine everything I'm doing in life, all these businesses, all this hard work that I do? It's all for one thing, so that I could sit at a table, at the head of a table, and feel the sense of pride of caring for my wife and kids. That's it. And that's what I want. It's a simple thing. It's nothing complicated. I don't care about the cars. I don't care about fancy cars. I don't care about, expensive trips, unless it's to take my family on an expensive trip, so that to provide memories for them. But that's it. That is a life worth trying to pursue, right? And along the way, as I'm doing that, be here on this channel with you guys, trying to encourage you to do the same. It doesn't have to be my dream, but it could be any dream. It could be anything that you want. Because I know for a fact that some of you out there have ideas, things that you've been putting off, things that you want out of life, and you're sitting there thinking that you can't have it. And that's a lie. You can have it. All you got to do is just get out there and give it a go. And it's a game of inches. It's just inch by inch, doing one thing in front of the other every single day, doing something that will move the ball down the field. And that's it. It's just moving the ball down the field and putting those 5 words behind everything you do. For the glory of God. For the glory of God. And you'll see how he'll work in your life. I know how he's worked in my life. He's already given me so much, so many gifts, like things that I don't even deserve, but he's given to me, right? Now, naturally, God can take everything away from you as well. He can take it all from you. However, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't not try. Laziness is in my eyes, is a sin. Letting your gifts go without even trying to be the best possible man you could be. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for it. Don't get me wrong. None of us is perfect. I'm not perfect. I made tremendous mistakes. Man, I mean, one day in the future, I'll tell you about some of the mistakes I've made where, you'd be ashamed to be my friend. I've made horrible mistakes. I've been a bad father, been a bad husband, been a bad son. I mean, I've done stupid shit in my life. However, wallowing in those mistakes and feeling sad for yourself and all that kind of stuff, and then just falling deeper into that hole is unacceptable. So I really want to hear about what you guys are doing and, what your goals are, what kind of challenges you might be having. I want to hear about those things. I want to see if I can help, or if you think you could help me. If you think you have some advice, put it in the comments section. You have constructive criticism, go for it. I would love to hear about it. Just make sure that you're watching and that you share, like, and subscribe to this video. I think that's about it for me for today. I think I said everything I wanted to say. And please encourage me, because I'm trying to do a video every single day. And like I said, right now it's in this awkward phase, more mechanical, where my content, I don't expect my content to be amazing. That really hung me up for a long time, actually, thinking, I didn't post nothing for 2 years when I first bought this podcast machine and everything, because I thought everything had to be perfect, that I had to be good on the microphone. But the reality is that you don't get that. You can't get there without going through the phases. You can't get there without being awkward at first. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter. I won't be able to be a top level podcaster until I'm actually consistently and regularly putting out content, whether it sucks or not. Doesn't matter if it's the greatest content. Doesn't matter. Obviously, if I were to say something right now that would get me canceled, obviously I wouldn't want to post my video. I'd probably have to start all over again. But point is that you have to get past that awkwardness. Doesn't matter what it is, man. I don't care what it is in life you're gonna do. You can't get good at something until you actually get past the awkward phase. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, tell your friends about me, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday's video, which was called "Be the Best You Can Be for the Glory of God." Make sure you say your prayers at night, and God bless you all. I'll catch you guys on tomorrow's video.